Back with another video in the series about confidence from Ryan's series for success. We're going into the specifics of how to build unshakable confidence. If you haven't already, make sure you watch the other videos in this playlist before reaching this one. Today, we're going to talk about how to stay confident after failure. Failure is inevitable on your path to success. And when you start to build up your confidence, you will inevitably have those situations where you just fail and you fall flat on your face. Now, the question is, how do we overcome that? And how do we actually, preserve our confidence and still push forward? Now, failure can be a very difficult thing to swallow. And I think the reason that it's such a difficult thing to swallow is because for your entire life, you've always been taught that failure is a bad thing. And I'm not trying to say that failure is going to be this amazing thing that you want to always have. Of course, we always want to be successful. We always want to win. We don't want to lose. But when those losses do happen, failures are really something we should view as learning opportunities. And I love how I say this. So many people say this, but the truth is it's going to be a learning opportunity that's going to punch you in the face. It's going to hurt so bad. You're going to hate it. You're going to want to just quit because it hurts so bad and you want to run away from that pain of failure. But if you truly want to grow, you cannot run away from the pain of failure, because if you run away from the pain of failure, you run away from self-growth. This all ties back to confidence, because by stripping away the strength of the word failure and those experiences that will fail, and this is coming from personal experience, when you try a lot of different things, it is guaranteed you will fail. But the more you fail, and it's more like the more you try out different things, which will lead to more failures just because you're not going to be good at everything the first time around, it starts to get you a little more like numb to the idea in a good way. Because if you only try to avoid failure all the time, when you have one failure, it's like a devastation. Even if it's not like a huge thing, you just are so devastated because you're always trying to run. You're like, okay, maybe if I just run faster and faster, I can run away from things that would like cause me to be failure, right? And you just always chase perfection and try to run away from things that cause failure. But if you can start to just have, some situations where you do fail, and they will inevitably happen, and then you recognize, okay, this doesn't mean I'm a terrible person, doesn't mean I don't belong here, doesn't mean all these things that people typically have negatively in their head. It just means that I need to put in more time, I need to learn more, I need to figure out what I did wrong, and I need to use this as a launch pad for the next success. Because the truth of the matter is, the more you fail, the more you typically learn. It doesn't mean you will be successful, but it is a prerequisite for success. You cannot become successful without first failing, because failure has the lessons required for that in order to become successful. So that's why we shouldn't allow it to affect our confidence, because if you allow it to affect your confidence, you're allowing failure, which should really not be an emotional situation. Of course, I'm talking from personal experience. It is an emotional situation, but you need to cap it at a certain point. You can't allow it that you fail once and that ruins your entire day, ruins your entire week, ruins your entire month, and you don't get anything else done. Yes, it's going to hurt. It's going to suck. We don't want it to happen. But the main thing you can do is try to flip it into a positive by taking away, what did you learn? How can you improve? How can you prepare for the next time? And this is the key to keeping your confidence even after failure, because when you strip away all the emotional power that failure typically has, that it typically tells you, oh, you're not good enough, you suck, like all these different terrible negative things, when you start to separate that from actually failure and you analyze it more objectively, you realize, okay, it's lessons, it's very good feedback telling me, you're not good enough in this certain aspect yet because you haven't put enough time, or you don't know exactly what to do. So you need to find a mentor, find somebody else who knows what to do, or copy someone else who's been successful doing this certain thing. That's really what failure is trying to teach you. And by extracting that out, you can understand that failure doesn't really have anything to do with you. It's a separate thing. It has to do with the fact that you didn't put enough work, you didn't learn enough, and that's why you failed. If you think about all aspects of anything, it's typically because you haven't tried it enough. It's been like your first couple times, even first 5 times, you may still fail. And you haven't learned enough to actually become successful or become proficient at that thing. So if you are still on the same page with me, now you start to understand why it's so crazy why would we allow something that really shouldn't be emotional, should just be like a form of feedback and just, a way to learn about lessons that we need to learn. Why would we allow that to completely derail us, involve all of our emotions, keep us in this stupor or just just really, really sad state for a long time, and inhibit all the other positive things that we're trying to build? It makes no sense. So this is how you can preserve your confidence, by just stripping away the power of failure, so that when failure does happen, and also expect that failure does happen, because it will happen. And so when you expect it, when you strip away the emotional power of failure, you're able to preserve confidence, because you understand this is part of the process. It doesn't mean that I'm terrible. It just means that I'm not good enough yet at this certain thing. And that is what will allow you to continue to build confidence upward through the small wins that we've talked about. And that's really the key to building lasting, unshakable confidence.